this is my story. This is my timeline. I've been in the game for a while. I think most of you know that. So I'm going to share that today. I'm going to talk about like where I started from before I even got into business, when I was in business in school, and obviously a lot of you know I dropped out when I was 17, to then doing this full time. And I've switched to quite a few different businesses since then. And I think a lot of you in this call are probably quite similar to that. You've tried so many different things and all of that sort of compounds to where you are today. And that's my story. Like, I'm almost like, I think, oh, if I didn't do that in the past, I wouldn't be here today because I wouldn't have the knowledge for this thing, I wouldn't have the knowledge for that. And I'm going to explain like fully every business that I did and how it all worked. But it's just like, when I was making this, because I made this early today, I wasn't really thinking of having like a slideshow presentation or anything, but I wanted to show my story properly and I wanted to just visually show you guys like how it looked. So the first thing that I got into business with, and this was when I was 16 in 2022, it was drop shipping. Now, the question is that most people ask themselves, I guarantee probably some of you guys here as well, for the first business is drop shipping. You ask yourself, what's one way people are making money? This was around like when Andrew Tate was like popping off in late 2022, and e-com was huge at that time. And it was the first business that I saw. Was it the right business? Well, I don't fully know. And to this day, I still question that if I stuck with it for longer, would it have been good? But I tried quite a few different stores. So I had this first one where I was selling like these light products. It's quite fun. You can see here, look, this is in my sister's bedroom, just using this like moon lamp. And I did pretty well with organic, and I also ran some TikTok ads at some point. But the thing was with that is I didn't properly test the product. I just found something that I thought, oh, you know, this might do well. And then I just kept trying to pump it out and make loads of videos, and I thought it would do well, but at the end it didn't. And here's a screenshot of my account. I literally had £4 to my name at the end of the year, and I was like fully broke. Like you can see here, look, I think this was TikTok ads I was spending this money on. And for time reference, by the way, this was, so look, you can see here, November 19. The reason that I first started dropshipping was because I wanted to buy my family Christmas presents. Some of you know that as like my initial driving reason as to why I started in the first place. And because I had no money, it's like I had to do something. And at this point, it was like getting super stressful. I had a month pretty much until Christmas, and I needed to make money to buy my family presents. Anyway, I mean, I'd then made another store. That store did pretty well. Here's just a random screenshot. I don't think there was any sales on this day, but 10 active visitors with some active carts check out. And then I managed to actually do pretty well with one of the stores. So I made my first 4 figures just before Christmas, because I had that specific milestone in place that I had to make enough money. So I had 1.2K roughly, about 1.2 to 1.5. And I managed to get some presents for Christmas. So I managed to hit that goal. I was in school, 16 at the time, or 17, 16 to 17. And I had all this pressure on myself to do that, and I did. So then the next thing was, because in 2023, once I already hit that milestone with dropshipping, because I knew I can't do that full time, and the store that I was using at the time, the product that I made the money was with this like hairbrush, but the product ended up getting like really saturated though other stores, so I kind of just dropped it. And then, funny enough, this guy, Imran Gadzi, the GOAT, came up on my YouTube, like literally the week after. Actually, a friend of mine, really close friend of mine, mentioned Imran Gadzi. He was like, oh, do you know Imran Gadzi? And I'm like, oh no. So I checked him out, watched his YouTube videos, and I'm like, well, this guy really resonates with me. I saw he started when he was like 17. He also dropped out as well. This was before I dropped out of school, but I knew that I wanted to. So I aligned with so many of his morals and the things that he preached. So Imran was early on, 2023, so 3 years ago, he was like a really big role model to me. And I saw this business model that to me at the time was completely new. And the concept of being the middleman, of having someone having a business and you can just supply the clients, that's where I wanted to position myself. Because at the time I didn't have any skills, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was so hungry and ready to position myself in that kind of business. Because ecom, being the guy in the back end, setting up a store, yes, I was a creative person, but it didn't really feel like a business. And if you guys have done ecom, you'll know what I mean. Like, yeah, messing around with the supply stuff can feel cool, but just, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was actually doing something meaningful. So that's why I wanted to start a marketing agency. That's when I started my marketing agency, DA Marketing, which some of you know about. I say So yeah, it's funny, I've just read this since 2021. It was roughly like end of 2022 pretty much, but 2023, let's just say. And the money that I did have, I reinvested it. So I bought a bunch of books and I bought some equipment. Like I'm more serious about it at this point. Like before, I literally just had a £200 crappy Chromebook. I had like nothing. I had maybe like 1 or 2 books, but I wasn't properly taking it seriously. So this was like the first identity change myself, like the first step to changing who I was, to become someone new. And a lot of these books, I read majorities. Like I was in like a crazy book binging session. Like if you guys have ever had that where you bought your first like bunch of books and when you want, like, you're so hungry to get through them, that's how I was feeling. And I was getting all this new knowledge. And at the start, when you don't have anything and you start picking up these nuggets, it's so powerful to you because you've just gone from 0. And even if it's from 0 to 10%, that 10%, because it's the first 10%, just means so much. And that's what I had literally 1 to 2K I made from ecom. It was barely anything, and I ended up wasting most of it. But the money that I did invest, which was literally, this is what I did with my first 1 to 2K that I made, is I reinvested it back into something. And all these books, I'm still surrounded by these books. I've got 2 bookcases either side of me. Sometimes I still go to these very books for knowledge. I have my MacBook, I still use this all the time, and it's paid me back today. So anyway, I was more serious, and this was the first real proof that I can do something, is because then I started my marketing agency. And then 2024, roughly, I think I just got someone, admit one guest, anyone in the weight room. Yeah, let me call in. So 2024 was when I came across Charlie Morgan. So if you guys know Charlie Morgan, absolute GOAT in the industry. Charlie Morgan has been arguably more of a hero to me than Iman, because he, from the UK, I mean, they're both from the UK, but Charlie, the value that he gave completely shifted who I was. And from 2024, this was actually early 2024 is when I dropped out of school. I was 17, dropped out completely on my own, doing my own thing. Like I have my own freedom. And I've got a book here, is I would binge and consume so much knowledge from Charlie. And this is that book that, I know it's a different book, but like I have like pages and pages and pages. And if you guys have watched Charlie Morgan, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, why I binged him, because the level of knowledge that he was giving to people that were just kind of starting out in the space. Like I had clients at that point. I had marketing agency clients, but to find someone like this in the industry that was like there for me, giving the knowledge that I wish I had before, and he was like giving me it in the moment, I'm like, wow. Like, every video I was just so hooked, like genuinely so, because I felt the power that I was getting from every single word that Charlie gave me. And through 2024, fully locked in on my marketing agency. And here's a screenshot, right? This is just like a week worth of meetings, and I ended up closing like more than half of these. It was the best week. It was like nearly 10K in extra MRR just from this week alone. And this is just a screenshot from one of my trackers. So it's just transparently, just literally took it early this morning. I went back to one of the trackers, and the green are from clients that we closed. And it was a good month. Like I was fully locked in on sales, because a lot of you know me in the present of like, oh, like I'm really good at sales. I do a lot of sales consulting. This is usually what I focus on. And this is why, yeah, I was fully locked in on my marketing agency. And this was the first real business that I had. The ecom thing was just like a side quest at the time. Like it was like putting one foot in and just like a baby step pretty much, where it's like, I wanted to know what business was like. I wanted to make money. I did obviously have the milestone of making enough money for my family to get them Christmas presents. But then actually having a proper business where I'm dropped out, it's like I have all this pressure on me to actually make something of myself. And it's like I really felt my identity shifting at this point, because I'm gaining so much knowledge from Charlie, so I'm changing who I was in the present. Like if I go through my camera, I was actually laughing today. I was going through my camera roll, finding some pictures, and I'll show you later on. I mean, even these pictures, like this picture on the left with Charlie Morgan, I was laughing when I was going through this, because even just before that, it was like these degenerate pictures of me, like just doing stupid stuff, and I found it funny at the time. And it's like I look back to who I was then, and I compare myself to who I am in the present, and it's like, if in that moment, back then in 2024, I saw who I am today and who I'm becoming, I'd be so proud of myself, because it's like I have literally aligned my identity to become that person. So anyway, I'm genuinely, like, I'm fueling myself. I'm picking up all these nuggets of value, and I'm just becoming someone even better and better. And I think I've known some of you even by this point, like 2024, 2025. So some of you actually, you'll get on. So if I go to the next page, this one. So these are just some screenshots. So I did some pretty good months. My biggest one was around 17K. I had some like average 10K months. kind of averaged out at. And again, I reinvested that. Like I bought like my setup, like everything, all my equipment, I reinvested that money back in, reinvested it back into the businesses, back into my knowledge, etc. And then anyway, right, to carry on with the timeline, 2024 to 2025 is when I changed business models. So with the marketing agency, it was cool. I liked it. I liked the whole systems of a business, but that's what I prioritized more. It wasn't the clients, it was more of the systems aspect of it. And at the time I had like insanely high leverage acquisition systems. Like a lot of people know me for having my outreach systems back in the day. And that's what I wanted to do more than working, because at the time my marketing agency was UK-based aesthetics clinics, which is like these 30-year-old women. I didn't like working with 30-year-old women. They were quite arrogant most of the time. So then I changed my business to basically selling my acquisition system, so SaaS, software as a service. And that did really well with a lot of people. And they also got really good results, and that was fun. And then also 2024 to 2025, which I think a lot of the people in this call actually today, you remember this. Look, even though there's Ronald in the top right corner, you can see Ronald on this. This is some of the guest calls I used to host. Another one here, look, there's Ronald in the corner. Ronald's in the call today. I think Christopher, you joined quite a few of those as well. And they were really fun. Like I really enjoyed just... Oh, here we go, Henry in as well. So I really enjoyed hosting these guest calls. Like I, obviously being the host, like I was getting the value from these other people, like their journey, the things that they've learned, and then helping other people understand their journey and how they can take that to become kind of that person as well. So it's like, obviously it all comes back to identity. So the guests that I was bringing on those guest calls is I was breaking apart who they are and elements of their identity to then help the guests in the call almost take components of that would align with who they want to become. So look, we've got Darren Lee here. I think quite a lot of you guys, some of you in here actually joined that one. And the one with Darren Lee, like he broke down how he was able to get his business to where he was making like 7 to 8 figures in yearly revenue, right? And because he was breaking down those nuggets of value, he's giving it to people that are on that journey as well. So he's speeding up people on the trajectory to do something similar to what he's doing. And I like this a lot. Like I really, really like talking to these guys, bringing them in and giving them an extra platform to help people like you and people like me as well, because I was getting tons of value from this. And then anyway, 2025 to 2026 is when I went more into sales consulting. So just gonna have a drink of water because my mouth's getting quite dry. So I love sales. Sales is my number one skill above anything, is I just love hopping on sales calls. Beckett, you know this about me, is I just love sales. And so at the time, and Beckett as well, Beckett was my partner with technically Project Catalyst, which is what I'm doing today. But anyway, we worked with Philip. So Philip Simmons was like my first sales consulting client. And Beckett on this call today, actually, he helped with a lot of this. And so here's a screenshot on a call with Philip. We still have a lot of calls. I'm not sure if he's in this masterclass today. I thought he was going to join this one. But anyway, I helped Philip close Jeremy Haynes, Gregor Gallagher, Austin, Above the Par, and Jeremy Nick Moser, as well as some other people. But the fun thing is we closed Jeremy Haynes and Gregor Gallagher in the same day, which was like just shy of like 10K cash collected. And like, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed like being there for Philip and helping him like navigate the process of selling these people. And it was like just the right process for me to align my identity even further. Like it was fun doing the deals for like 2 to 4K a month, where it was just like, I'd give a system to a marketing agency or something like that. But this was way more meaningful. This was like a step above that. Like I'm working with these big dogs and like I get to see how they operate. I get to also take components of their identity and who, like for example, working with Philip, I've got to see a lot of like the behind the scenes of people like Jeremy Haynes and all these people like Jeremy Nick Moser and stuff as well. So I've been able to also learn from that. And this was another thing, like another learning curve in my journey, is I got to see all these amazing people, and that I also learned from and developed who I was as well. And then I've done some other cool stuff as well. Like you guys know the podcast, this was fun. So we've got, this is Jack Roberts. So Jack Roberts closed over $3 million for Charlie Morgan. Now I'm going to go like back into the timeline just to give you guys another reference. So one of the first touch points that I had with like Charlie's program was with Jack. Like I had a sales call. I was kind of like just funnel hacking at the time to see like what the sales process was. And I got on a call with Jack. Now, I didn't end up buying, and then a year later, I then checked the program out again, and I coincidentally, I must have had about 10 closes at the time. I got on a call with Jack as well, again. And anyway, so this was like 2024 is when I had the call with Jack. And the end of last year, I connected with Jack again, and I mentioned the podcast idea with him, and we made it happen. So this was like another like epiphany moment where it's like I'm becoming someone else. Like I'm putting myself out there and I'm doing these cool things. Like doing this podcasting, I was extremely nervous beforehand, but it's like I wanted to, and I had visions of who I was becoming, and the version of me that could comfortably sit in a chair with people like Jack Roberts, who works with Charlie Morgan, and people on that level would do that sort of thing. And then I went and did it because I aligned my identity to become the kind of person that can do stuff like that. And most people in kind of situations like that would self-sabotage, or they'd find a reason to pull out or not do that thing. But because I knew that that's the thing that the version of me that I'm becoming would do, and the version of me that is living the life that I want to live would do, I did it. And to fast forward even further, this year, I met Jack in a villa that I had in Marbella. I think, anyone here from the Marbella group? I think Henry was there as well. We hosted a masterclass with Jack in Marbella, which was amazing. I should have added some pictures on there. And it just goes to show like the power that you have over your reality is all yours. Like you can do anything that you want if you align your identity, but I didn't know that beforehand. In 2026, so present day, you guys know that I've been working on this for a long time now, is Project Catalyst. So I'm gonna go to the whiteboard in a second, but before I do that, I'm gonna explain how I managed, because I did 30K in January. So with my sales consulting, I did $28,600 to be specific in January. And I want to show you something cool. This is a screenshot from around August, September 2025. And here's a screenshot. So I circled it. Look, my measurable outcome was $25,000 in, well, technically December the 31st. And the way that I would then basically like do this was through aligning my identity. So I broke down, and I'll explain fully what I mean by identity. I don't mean it as a buzzword. I'm gonna fully break down what identity actually means in a second. But it's because I took who I was and who I needed to become to be making 30,000 or 25,000 a month, and I aligned with that version of myself. So this is genuinely just so fulfilling and warms my heart to see, because I only remembered this a few weeks ago. I only remembered, well, why don't I pull up one of my AI chats to show the power of like putting your mind to something and fixing something in place and then following that trajectory. And that's exactly what I did. This screenshot was from around September. And then I did exactly that in January. I mean, a few weeks late, cut me some slack. I said December the 31st. We did it before January the 31st anyway. So give or take a month, might have been a little bit of lag, but we did that anyway. So the main concept that I want you all to know, and I'm not gonna write the full name, is the law of sensitive dependence on initial condition. So I showed you my journey, right? My journey looked like this, and I mean, that was like the main points that I showed you was me at my highest at that point. Like for example, with drop shipping, when I made like my first 2K, and then with the marketing agency, when I then hit like my first 5-figure month at 17, to then doing the same thing with my other agency, so my SaaS agency. It's like those were the high points, but there would be like 6-month gaps between those where I'd hit broke again. And it's like, that is part of the entrepreneurial journey, but it's like we can manipulate this to keep, because at the end of the day, we just want a trajectory that looks like that, right? If you think of it like a graph in terms of success, right? That is what we want our success to look like, is we want it to be linearly upwards. And I didn't have that. And I genuinely reckon a lot of you guys will relate to this, because like, yes, you'll have moments where you make or have like your biggest month, but it's like you have loads of those moments where you'll go back down. And that's like, if I could give you one thing, or if I could help you guys to not have those moments where you go back down, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you something to help you from when you're at this point to just keep going even further, because you don't have to go down there. You don't need to. But the reason that you do go down here is because you'll end up self-sabotaging. So once you break this threshold point, you'll bring yourself back down and inevitably fall back to this point, then you hit rock bottom, that then you have to rely on this drive and go back to the initial reason to then bring yourself back up. And then it will likely happen again and again. And this was me loads. And yes, each time I went slightly higher, so it did kind of look like this, but imagine it just looked like this, which it genuinely is fully entirely possible for that to happen. But the reason that I had these dropping points was because I was reverting and regressing back to the old version of myself, so my old identity. So I'm probably gonna faint because it's that hot today. Like genuinely, it's like 30 degrees right now. Was tempted to take this masterclass topless, I'll admit. Right, anyway, so Oh, going back to the thing I was saying before. So the law of sensitive dependence on initial conditions. So imagine this is a ship, right? So yeah, you can see that. Imagine this is a ship, and this is the island that the ship is sailing to. Well, back in the day, like 100, 200, 300 years ago or so, like a few centuries ago, where they didn't have like proper navigation, is they'd just set a certain trajectory and then they'd follow that. So for example, when the Vikings were sailing over from like Norway to England, they'd just have like a certain point they'd follow, and they'd drive, or sail, I should say, from point A to point B, and they'd follow that trajectory, right? But if you just imagine so the island, so this is where they're going, this is like point A, and this is the expected trajectory. Now imagine they're like 1 degree off course, just 1 degree, right? Just 1 degree. Now, it's going to compound. They might just literally be 1 degree off course. It's going to then lead them in a completely different place. So if this is England, no, I won't give that as an example, but this might literally be 10 kilometers in distance from 1 degree of misalignment. And that is you as an entrepreneur, and your identity is you are, even if you're 1 degree misaligned, you're going to end up somewhere completely different, somewhere you don't want to be. And that's a problem that I'm trying to help everyone solve right now, is you don't have to be 1 degree misaligned right now. And that's the hard thing, is being an entrepreneur, it is easy to like fall back and become your person, or not have everything perfect, or have one certain habit that's holding you back, one certain belief, one certain mindset, one thing in your environment. It's so easy to have one of these things, which is that 1 degree, that one problem that's stopping you from actually getting to your destination. Because imagine maybe you do, like, and this was pretty much me for the longest time, is my journey would be to get to that end goal of point A, but I'd be misaligned. Even if it was that 1 degree off course, it would end up me being somewhere else. And then I'd have to then walk all the way back to point A, which would walking this 10K, that would take me like a year. And that didn't have to happen, because if I knew this beforehand, then I would have been able to align myself and inevitably get to where I want to be without all of the consequences. So that's the law of sensitive dependence on initial condition. And with time, it compounds. So the longer you are misaligned, the worse the impact. So the longer that you have that 1 degree, or even for some people it could be worse, you could be like way misaligned, and you could be aligned with someone making 2K a month being someone wanting to make 10K a month, and because you're aligned with someone that's making 2K and not 10K, well, you're going to be producing 2K results. And that's what I'm going to tell you about, is identity alignment. So just someone unmute and let me know if you can see the full screen. Like right now I'm writing at the middle top, so if someone could just tell me that you can see the full thing. If not, I'll move the camera back. Okay, perfect, thanks Ronald. Identity alignment. So I use this a lot. Now, if I'm honest, even before I properly knew this, I probably didn't know what an identity was. Like, you're probably thinking, oh, it's your ID, like, oh, what you look like, who you are. Well, no, that's not who you are. Who you actually are is composed of 5 main things. And first of all is your characteristics. Right, and I'm going to explain what all of these are. So your characteristics being number 1, there's no order of like importance or anything. I mean, kind of, but not really. This is things like, for example, focus. Focus is a characteristic. Discipline. And for example, same thing in the negative way, laziness, honesty, all of these are characteristics. These are part of your character, right? Now, again, when I'm talking about identity alignment, you might be someone right now that isn't disciplined. Or if you have discipline on a scale of 1 to 10, you might be someone that's 2 out of 10 disciplined, when the person you're trying to become, someone making 10K a month, for example, if you're like 2K a month person, that person is maybe 6 out of 10 disciplined. But because you're only 2 out of 10 disciplined, that's one thing, that's 1 degree of misalignment that's fundamentally stopping you from producing the 10K per month person, or whatever your goal is, results. So those are 2 examples of your characteristics, which again can be positive, negative, honesty, you could be a liar, just all these things, they make your character is like fundamentally who you are. Focus is a big one. These are like actually two of the two most important. And number 2 is your skills. So skills defined as things that you are good at. So skills could be in marketing, skills could be AI automation, skills could be communication, speaking on camera. Me doing this masterclass right now might not be amazing. This is kind of like a warm-up one. There's not really much pressure, but this is me doing this right now. I have a certain skill. So let's say me doing this masterclass, and you rank it as a skill 1 to 10. I mean, I hope I'm doing all right, but maybe say I'm like a 5 out of 10 right now, me doing this masterclass. Me making 100K per month, I might have to be a 10 out of 10 with the skill of doing a masterclass to fundamentally get to that result if that version of me has that skill, right? So I might need to focus on improving my skill of running masterclasses. And it's broken down to a lot of things. Like, for example, you could run a marketing agency. Well, what are the main skills of a marketing agency you'd have to have? Well, you'd have to have good communication. I'll actually write this. So communication, you have to be able to communicate with your team, with your clients. It's really important. And then obviously sales, which sales almost is communication, sales kind of come hand in hand. You have to obviously be able to sell. You also have to be good at marketing to an extent, marketing for yourself as well as your clients, your branding, etc. And then another thing of that is, so I guess this kind of comes under communication, but for example, leadership. If you're running a team, you have to be able to lead them in the right way. If you've got appointment setters, you have to be able to lead them. These are all skills that you need to have. And anyway, remember, these are all part of the identity. So at the end of the day, if you want to have a certain identity, you have to have all of these. So those are 2 things. And the third thing is your beliefs. Beliefs they're one that can really compound and multiply. If you have a certain limiting belief, that one limiting belief can be that 1 degree that's keeping you off course. And I see it all the time. I see people think one thing, and that one thing that they think, I'll give you an example, is, oh, I can't speak on camera, or I can't post social media videos because I've never spoken on camera before. Well, that's a limiting belief. But what you want to actually do is you want to rewire that to, instead of saying, oh, I can't speak on camera, I've never spoken before, or I've never spoken online before, is I've never spoken online before, therefore I need to learn the skill, and you fundamentally need to rewire it to then think of you as the person that is the goal, right? So beliefs are like how you see the world. Your beliefs around money. Money is abundant. Money is scarce. How you see the world fundamentally is your beliefs. So these technically are the top three, the 3 main things that shape the identity. But then the extra ones, 4 and 5, is your environment, which not many people talk about, and I'll go more in depth with that in a second, and your relationships. So your environment there's actually 4 for this one, so I'll go into this one. I'm going to change pen. I go blue for this one. So number 1, you have your physical environment, and your physical environment is everything around you. So right now, this whiteboard, for me, is part of my physical environment. These pens, part of my physical environment. The setup that I'm on right now, everything around me is my physical environment. So everyone, look around you right now. That is part of your physical environment. So let's say you're someone making 2K per month and you want to become someone making 10K a month, or you're someone making 5K a month and you want to make 50K a month. Well, ask yourself, does your environment, your physical, everything around you, in your room, in the place you're at right now, is that the environment that the version of you making 50K per month has? Do you have a gaming computer accessible to you right now? Do you have weird posters on the wall? I don't know what you might have that could be holding you back, but just really think and be willing that if you want to actually become someone that is hitting those goals, understand that you're going to have to let certain things go. Actually, I just realized I've been sharing my screen this whole time, so that's going to make it smaller for you guys. My bad. There we go. That's better. That's way better. I don't know if that was holding up the screen for you, but physical environment, that's that. And then you have the digital environment. So this is everything on your phone, for example. I'll give you an example. Where's my other phone? I don't know where it is. I can't use that one because that's got I've got the camera on there. I've got another phone somewhere. I don't know where it is though. Oh, there it is. So this phone, right? If I'm just using this as an example, is if this is your phone, well, this shows you like everything on here, right? Does this align with the version of me making the amount of money that I want to make? So what are the apps? I've got chess app here. I've got like money apps. I've got literally a productivity one, not really productivity. Bank, Notion. I've got structured app. Medito is a meditating app. CapCut. There's not like Go High Level, Calendly, Gmail, Outlook. Again, I got payment apps. Like this to me is really organized. So to me, I see this and it's like I've got 2 pages and that's it on this phone. And this is an example of an aligned digital space. The same thing with my actual phone is I don't have games, I don't have distractions, I don't have things on my phone in my digital environment that is going to be holding me back into the version of me that I don't want to be. If I'm making 5K a month, let's just say, and I want to be someone making 50K a month, then having the physical environment, the digital environment of someone in that position is the first thing you need to let go of, right? And that if there was one thing, or not one thing, but I want you guys to reflect and think of it like that. Like who are you right now? And look at your physical, your digital environment, and what are the things that, like, what does it look like at the end of the day? Anyway, informational. This is probably my favorite one. Informational. So informational is everything you consume. So your informational environment, like what is your consumption diet? Like what books do you read? Do you watch things on Netflix? If you watch things on Netflix, what do you watch? Do you listen to music? What do you listen to? Like, you know, who do you listen to as well? If you watch YouTube, what YouTube do you listen to? So for me, let's say I listen to Charlie Morgan. Well, Charlie Morgan's part of my informational diet. So in terms of aligning your identity of who you are right now to who you're trying to become, is the version of you that makes 50K a month, did they or do they consume that certain thing? If not, that's something that you need to consider removing from that environment to align yourself. So if right now you're binge watching a Netflix series, which I hope none of you are doing, because I mean, probably one of the worst things you can do with your time, escapism 101, but anyway, align yourself. Like you need to be, if you actually have ambitions to do certain things, you need to be willing to remove those from that environment. So environment number 1, physical, 2, digital, 3, informational, and then 4 is like relational. So this is obviously, this ties very much into part 5 of your identity of who you are, but this is like everyone in your space. So maybe you have like roommates, or maybe you have people that you live with, or people, even like the country that you're in, the people that you're around, like that you see. So I've just been in Spain for a while. I was in Alicante for a couple of weeks, just longer than a couple of weeks. And the people there's like loads of e-com guys and stuff. Like I see loads of entrepreneurs and it's pretty cool. Like everyone's really healthy. Like I remember me and my friend Anakin were in the gym and like, we're like, you know, we've got really good physiques, but we're making jokes saying like, we're like the average Spanish guy, because like everyone's like jacked out of their mind. And it's like, that's an example of your surroundings in your environment, of like being around certain people and the effect that that has on you. You might not even think, again, all of these, right? They're just 1 degree, like the physical environment, the small things of your physical environment make up 1 degree of alignment, right? Same thing with your digital, same thing with your informational, same thing with relational. So if all of your environment, let's just say for argument's sake, this makes up 100 degrees of your, like you and 100, like you're on course, you're on trajectory. Now, let's say you start taking away degrees, like for example, your physical environment is misaligned. Let's say you have a gaming computer. Let's say your digital environment, you've got loads of games on your phone. Informational, let's say you're watching loads of Netflix. Your relational, you've got, you know, you're going to school or something with like loads of losers. This could reduce that by 20 degrees, meaning that, I'm gonna move over here, meaning, yeah, you can see this. So you at point A going to point B, instead of just being straight, because you've got 20 degrees worth of misalignment, you end up all the way over here. And that is just one thing. This is just the environment. So just really think about how many degrees there are to play with characteristics, skills, beliefs, and relationships, right? It's like all of this makes up your alignment of who you are and who you're becoming. But most people, literally, they just do this wrong because they don't know about the power of one thing. And even if, remember what I said a minute ago, like 5 minutes ago, probably, I don't know how long I've been talking for, but remember what I said about how the law of sensitive dependence on initial condition, that's insinuating just 1 degree of misalignment. When in all of your lives right now, and I want you to really get off this call and question that, is where are you misaligned? Where in your life right now are you doing things that aren't aligned with the version of yourself that's living that life that you want to live, first of all? Like, I guarantee there will be a lot of things in your life that you're doing that don't align with who you want to become. And I want you to really dive deep and ask yourself, are you doing those things? If so, is the reason that you're trying to become that person, making, for example, 100K a month, is the reason that you're trying to hit that certain goal and do that thing, is that big enough to leave everything else in the past? So is that reason big enough to stop gaming? So maybe, for example, your goal is to retire your mum, and let's just say one thing you'd have to sacrifice to gain alignment points is to stop gaming. Well, it is literally the one or the other. It's a comparison. I want you to think of it as, I'm going to put here, retire mom or game. I want you to see those things in your environment and in your space and ask either or. Is it worth stopping gaming to retire your mom, or is it worth losing the opportunity to retire your mom in order to game? Because that is fundamentally the trade-off that you're making. There is no such thing as balance with these. You don't, like, this is one side of the spectrum, this is the other. You don't have, you can't be on both sides. You can't do both. They're completely misaligned with each other, meaning that either you are someone that games and you're stacking the alignment points to end up as this as a destination as a gamer or someone that lives that reality, or you stack the alignment points in the direction of retiring your mom. Therefore, you're going to end up in that position. So I really just want everyone to reflect. That's the biggest thing that I want right now, is I know that I'm saying a lot and I don't know if I'm making full sense. I mean, I hope I am. I might be going a bit fast. But I just want you all to reflect on your life right now, and are you aligning yourself? And if not, where do you think you could be misaligned? So that would be like one of the main things that I want you to reflect on. And then going back off of that, and the whole point of a destination, is I want every single one of you to think about like why you're even doing this in the first place. Because remember when I was doing, so I did one, I did drop, so I'll rebuild my timeline again. So 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026. So that's a lot. That's 5 full years of me being in business, by the way. I'm like unk status at this point. But it's like, number one, I was doing drop shipping. And the reason was only short term. The reason of me doing dropshipping was only to have enough money to pay for my family, to buy presents. I mean, I did know I wanted to be in entrepreneurship. I didn't really know why, but that was the reason, and I hit that reason. Therefore, I then plateaued because I didn't have a reason bigger than that. That then when I hit that reason, so this is the goal. So I'm gonna put G for goal. This is where I was at. And because I hit that goal, I didn't know the path next after that. And then I went back down. And in that time that I went back down, then I found the marketing agency, and then I realized I had a bigger reason. And then I found that reason, I hit that reason, and then I went back down again. And that will be the same thing with a lot of you, as you'll have a short-term reason, but not long-term. Now, there's some people, I think, for example, Nicole in this call, like a lot of you, some of you know about Project Catalyst and what I've been building. But me doing this process of identity alignment, which is again, remember what I showed you, the last thing that I showed you on the presentation, where I took a screenshot of who I said I'm going to become. That was my milestone. And what I've done this past 3 months, and some of you have done this as well, is I've built a 10-year timeline. So you can probably tell that I love my timelines because I've just done one here, and I did a full one for the first 10 minutes of the course. So yeah, I love my timelines. It's the best way to explain things because everything happens in chronological order. So if you want to inevitably get to a goal, you have to know, it's almost a map at the end of the day, like the map for the destination. Like I'm gonna go back, so it's funny because I use the same kind of analogies to explain different things. But imagine you're driving a car, right? It looks like a shoe, but it's a car. Ironically, I am actually a good artist, I promise everybody. But this is your destination. You're going to point A, and the Y is the destination. So if you don't know where point A is, can you expect to get there? Well, no, because you don't get in a car without knowing where you're driving. And if you do, you're just going to drive around blindly. And if this is your life, this is your destination, do you want to just blindly drive around not knowing where you're going to end up? No, because you can end up in horrible places. And do you want that for your life? Your life should be so meaningful that you are willing to put in what it takes to get to that end goal. And that's why the second thing I want all of you to think about is, what is your why? Where are you going? And what do you want with your life? Because if you put those two together, of your destination and where you're going, then you can figure out and find someone. So for me, Charlie Morgan has what I want. Charlie Morgan is where I want to be. He has a business making 7 figures a month, and he has had the impact on the space that I want to have. Like he's helped a lot of entrepreneurs. I want to have that same impact, but in a different way, with identity alignment. That's what I want to help people with. So I can take him as an identity model. So his identity of who he is in the present, of making someone that's making $1 million a month, and I can deconstruct his identity and then align myself with that, because I can see objectively who he is. And for example, it's easy just to say, oh, hey, the skill set of someone like Charlie Morgan is sales, is communication. But objectively speaking, the true reality is that Charlie Morgan has proved that. So I can see his skills that he has in the present day. And by deconstructing that, I can then align myself in that way. So think about it. I'm going to go back to this. Let me get rid of this stupid little scribble. So going back to the boat analogy that I said before, and point A is the destination, is I might be off course, right? I could be off course to go up here, right? You know, like 20, 30 kilometers away from the actual destination that I'm trying to go. Now, because I then have Charlie Morgan as an identity model, I have that navigation because that's direct proof of concept that he has gotten to that destination that I want to get to. And a lot of people disregard that. A lot of people forget that there's people out there that have done what you want to do. And especially in today's age, if you're scrolling through Instagram, you see all these people, e-com millionaires, all these crypto, all this stuff, right? I guarantee there's someone in the specific business model that you're in has been in a very similar position to you. If they've hit your goal, they have the map. You can deconstruct it, reverse engineer to who you are in the present and align yourself with the characteristic. I'll abbreviate it. I'll be quicker. With the characteristics, skills, beliefs, environment, and relationships as that person to fundamentally get to that goal. This is the map. This is the identity is the map. But you in the present have to align with the version of that person, which I don't want you to think of it as copying like Charlie Morgan, for example. I want you to think of it as you're aligning yourself with the future version of you. The future version of you that has everything that you want. When you go to sleep at night and when you dream of that car, the house, the money, all of that, and everything that you actually want, like materialistically in life, and you have those visions, I know everyone in this call does, and you think about the future. When you think about that, you're thinking from the future, you're thinking of your future self, and you're aligning yourself with that person. So my future self, 5 years from now, when I'm making multi-million dollars per month, and I've had the impact on the market that I want to have, I'm not thinking of, hey, I'm becoming Charlie Morgan. I'm thinking I'm becoming the future self that I inevitably will become. And I'm aligning myself with that trajectory. So the final things that I want everybody to remember is the two things I want you to think about is your environment, because that's like the quickest thing that you can do right now, because it's literally just simple decisions to say, cut this out, cut that out. It's very, very simple. Is reflect and think, does your environment make you feel like you're a serious person and that you're aligning yourself with the trajectory that you want, like the destination you want to get to? Or does it make you feel unserious, and does it make you regress back to your old habits? Do you have a gaming computer right by your feet that you can play whenever you want? If so, and that's a distraction, that's aligning with your old identity, not your future. So that's one reflection point. And the second reflection point is what I just mentioned about what you want with your life. And inside of Project Catalyst, what I do is I have a timeline to build out present, 6 months, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year. So you can build out the timeline. And that's what I did myself, and I got extremely deep. And now that I have that clarity, I'm moving forward like I'm a torpedo, like I'm a bullet.
Jump in here. Aaron, I want to say this really good talk here. I feel like not enough people in this space emphasize what you said, right? Optimizing everything else in your environment to make sure that it's optimized for that one set goal. You know, whether it's getting your family Christmas presents or scaling to 6 figures per month, people often overlook all the different aspects in their life, especially the environment analogy you used. I thought it was really powerful and really great stuff overall.
Thank you, Beckett. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I mean, I saw that gap as well. Like, people just touch on roughly like, oh, you have to believe this, or you need a certain skill, but they'll fix on one small component. So remember how I said about being like 1 degree misaligned? Is everyone will have like that 1 degree, but it all stacks up, and they think about fixing one certain degree while having everything else misaligned, and they're fundamentally still on the wrong trajectory. Because they're on that wrong trajectory, they're still going to end up in the wrong destination, even if they fix something else, even if they get really good at AI automation or sales or anything, because everything else is misaligned, their environment and all that. Maybe they've got a friend that puts them, like their best friend puts them down every single day. They might be someone that is really good at sales. They might be someone that is really good at a certain thing. They have everything else aligned, but that one thing, that one friend that's holding them back, putting them down, that is the misalignment that's stopping them from getting to that destination that they want to get to.
I kind of want to add on to what you said, Aaron. Even beyond that, like, people will sometimes see stuff like this and think, oh, I can't take any breaks. Oh, I can't relax at all. But it's not even that. And I think you mentioned this. It's like, okay, what shows are you watching? What music are you listening to? You're not saying don't listen to music at all and just live a very work, sleep, because obviously that's going to cause burnout. But more specifically, I think it's so important, exactly what you said. What are you putting in your mind when you're not working? What are you consuming? Because even when you scroll, it's like, what videos are you liking? I mean, when you're not scrolling, you're digesting. Naturally, subconsciously, you're going to be digesting those videos. And if you're, watching brain rot or some bullshit that's going to distract you, or people living some, hedonistic lifestyle that's going to make you or influence you not to work, I think it's super, super important. I mean, especially in my journey, it's played such a huge role in growing the company that I'm building right now. And I think it's really good stuff.
I'm going to mention what I have now with Project Catalyst, just as like a final touch, and what I've been building, because I've been building Project Catalyst for 6 months. So remember how I said about the certain trajectory, right? So Project Catalyst in scientific terms, is the speeding up of a reaction that inevitably just takes something and it doesn't change it in any way. It just speeds up what inevitably will happen anyway. Now, remember how I said about my goal, my journey, how I had, like I was doing one thing, I was doing another. It's like, I didn't have this certain thing and it was alignment. Alignment is the catalyst, and that is what Project Catalyst is its identity alignment. So I've built out an entire process. I built out an app as well. So this masterclass actually strikes a soft launch of my app and my process, which, to fully explain what it consists of, is my app is inside the app. I have the 5 phases of which is number 1, the destination, which is what the final most important thing I wanted all of you to think about is your destination in life, the timeline, etc. The phase 1 is where I basically build out like your timeline. Like you go through the phase, you go through all the videos, and then you'll reflect yourself. And then inside the app, you'll transcribe yourself talking and answering all these questions. And then you'll have, like, everyone that's gone through it so far, they've had like so much reflection, and everyone said so far that they've found out things about themselves they didn't know before. Same with me as well. When I went, because I'd done my own process, I've done all the forms, I've done all the questions, and I found out things about myself I didn't know. What I wanted, my timeline is so clear, and because it's so clear, I'm way more aligned, and I'm aligning myself with that future version because now I know. The second thing is I have a shadow work process as well. So if you know the shadow self, like Carl Jung's theory, for me, that's been really important because I had these things holding me back, and that's what self-sabotage is. A lot of it is from the shadow self, so like a deep part of you that fundamentally is like the old identity in a way that's clawing you back to that old self. So remember how I said it's like up and down, up and down. A part of that probably is something to do with the subconscious. So that's why I have a part inside the program as well. And then the next thing is figuring out your identity of who you are plus who you want to become. So once you have the timeline, you know how much money you want to make, for example, with the materialistic things of what you want. Maybe, for example, you're in sales. Maybe your identity of like maybe in like 3 to 5 years of who you want to become is Shelby Sapp, as an example. And for example, I help you then figure out the identity model of who you want to become and then align with that person. And then the next thing is, obviously, in order to align yourself, you have to basically delete the old, like the habits, these things like the limiting beliefs of what you currently have to align yourself with that person. So I've got like an entire like deletion phase of like deleting who you are in the present. Then the next thing is installing the new identity. So for example, random example is, because I just mentioned it before, is if you're aligning with Shelby Sapp, or if she has the life you want to live, or Alex Eubank might have the life you want to live, or you can align with their identity. And then so what we do is then we deconstruct the identity model and you install certain things. So remember how I said skills, characteristics, beliefs, environment, relationships? We can then, if we deconstruct the model, we know at what point in their life, for example, what point in Charlie Morgan's life was he making $1 million per month? And then what skills did he have? What characteristics, beliefs, environment, relationships did he have at that point that inevitably got him to that point? So it's literally just the formula to success, the most like proven, scientifically proven, like nothing else beats it more than this to success. And I wish that I had this when I started in 2022 because I was misaligned. I was so many degrees off course. And it's because I then hit like rock bottom that I then had to realign myself so many times to now be at that point where I have full clarity and I'm on course. And I want that with everyone as well. Yes, Shuri.
Thanks for this whole presentation and for inviting me. I know I showed up a little bit late near the end, but just hearing everything you said, just really the timing really aligns, and everything you said about environment and how that can affect your success. Like, I'm looking to move. I'm not sure where, because I'm thinking about my career goals and where I want to take my direction in my life and with my skill sets. And I just think this is like a really good timing to hear all this, and your app sounds really, really cool, and I think it could be super helpful.
I'm glad to hear that. That's the impact that I want to have, is things that people need to hear. And it's like, for me as well, like I'm putting this out there because it's things that I needed to hear as well when I was at certain points.
Yeah, I almost want to just be a little testimony for you as well. As you mentioned earlier, for those who don't know, I've known you for quite a long time. We both got into the marketing space around a similar age of E-Man blowing up and SMMA blowing up and all that fun stuff. But I think it might have been you who shared this concept a while back about having that identity and being like, okay, hey, this is who I want to become. And then tailoring every decision you make based on that. It is truly a game changer. When I got into the space of entrepreneurship, I did this. I was like, okay, what is this goal? Where do I want to go? And Aaron, I think you helped me with this as well. Who is this person I want to become? Because it simplifies life so much. You no longer like, okay, should I do this? Should I not do this? It's would he do this, or would this version of me do this? And it's like, I would honestly say that's one of the pillars as to why, I was able to scale past 7 figures now in AI. It's unbelievable because it simplifies it, right? You don't want to waste so much time with decision fatigue, guessing, should I do this? Should I do this? It's simple, yes or no, because okay, would this version of me do it? Would he do it or not? So I just want to say, I'm looking forward to this next masterclass that you put together and seeing what this app really looks like, what it has in store. And I think it'll change a lot of lives.
Thank you, Beckett. That's amazing. I don't have anything to add or change or say anything. That's perfect.
Yeah, I'm really excited, bro. I'm excited to see that.
I'm going to drop the website. So this isn't like me trying to sell anyone. Like this is what I'm doing. If you guys want to check it out, if it aligns with you, if it's something you want to invest into, if you feel like it's something that aligns or is going to help you, then check it out. And so today, as I mentioned, is the soft launch. So everyone in my inner circle, people that like past clients and so on and so forth that have been waiting for me to drop this, now they can. Like I've just made it live today, and I'm going to up the price for the hard launch. So after the first 10 members, I'm going to double it. So that's why I wanted to mention to anyone else before, if you wanted to get in, then now you can. And as I mentioned as well, I'm going to do like another masterclass in a week's time. So if you wanted to join that one as well, it's actually just it's Monday the 1st, around the same time as this one. So if you wanted to join that one as well, I'm going to give more source in a different way. This one was kind of I just rolled the board and saw where it would end up, and that's what I spoke about. But the other one, the next one will be more planned and more structured. And I'm going to mention the 2 things I want you to reflect on is, so I'm going to actually put this over the other one, is your destination. Like really think about what you want in your life and try and put like your meditation cap on and reflect in the future what your future self has, right? And align yourself with that version of you in the future, and to understand why you're doing this and why that version, like why you're fighting so hard to get to that certain point. And for example, is there a certain car you want, why you want it, etc. And then the second thing is look around you, your environment, physical, digital, informational, and relational to the people around you, all of that, which I'll send the recording as well so you can reflect on this as well if you want to go through it at some point. But those are 2 things I want you to do, is reflect on what you want for the future as well as what you want for, I guess the timeline, the trajectory, and then reflect, because that's the simplest thing you can do right now, is look around you, what things don't align. And if there isn't anything that doesn't align, remove it, get rid of it, because it's the simplest change that you can make to gain those degrees to get yourself more on course. So if I was giving you like one thing that's going to help you right now, it would probably be that. And then also the reflection thing, because you aren't going to be on course if you don't even know where on course is and where the destination is. So I'm going to conclude with that. And once again, thank you for everyone that's joined and spent the time to sit with me and listen to what my crazy ass has to say to all of you. So yeah, take care everybody. Thank you.